Some say, you represent yourself as an entrepreneur, you get government, yet you get government subsidies in various ways, whether it's the battery plant or the solar plant or your rocket company. Some say that subsidy level would put into question your whole nature of your businesses. So are you just the best ever at getting government money?
No, I think I'm quite terrible at getting government money, actually. So if you look at Tesla and SpaceX and SolarCity, they got no government money at all in the first sort of half decade of their existence. Nothing. Government wasn't doing anything. And then I'll go through each one. In the case of Tesla, as I mentioned, the first government money we got was March of 2010, 7 years after the company was started. And that money was specifically for Model S development and for powertrain factory development. So we got $465 million, 365 of which was for the Model S, 100 for powertrain factory that could supply powertrains to other companies. Mm-hmm. But that was only paid, we'd have to spend the money, show the receipts, get it ordered by Pricewaterhouse, and then be reimbursed a few months later. That didn't help us with the Roadster business, it didn't help us with anything else, and it only paid for a small portion of what Tesla needed. The money that Tesla needed and has by far been generated in the private sector. So at this point we've generated, I think we've raised $4 or $5 billion in total, whereas whereas we had one government loan for $465 million. This compares to loans that were vastly greater to GM, Ford, and Chrysler, vastly greater, like 100 times greater. So, in the grand scheme of things, what's remarkable is that Tesla received so little government support, not that it received a lot.
Do you see a day when Tesla will be able to sell cars without government dependence?
Well, we paid off our loan, by the way. We're the first to pay off our loan, and
just in terms of sales incentives.
Well, there's the $7,500 tax credit, which applies to everyone.
Sure it does.
And it's there for any manufacturer.
Absolutely, but
so that's.
But can you sell without that?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
We sell it. We don't just sell in the United States.
No, understood.
So,
it was a U.S. question.
Yeah. So we sell in 34 countries. Mm-hmm. Most of those countries have no incentives.
Right.
So obviously we're still selling cars. What the incentive does is it's a slight catalyst. So if our car costs, including options and everything, somewhere between $80,000 and $100,000, and you get a $7,500 tax credit, okay, so you got about an 8% reduction in the car. That's helpful.
You're in simple. Change the subject. Are you a good boss?
I try to be a good boss most of the time. I mean, not all the time.
You've lost a lot of talent in the last few years.
Okay, that's false. So,
correct.
There was a completely asinine Wall Street Journal article that was written yesterday. You read that piece? Okay.
There was a mention of this event in there. Yeah.
Yeah, that article consisted of entirely. It was amazing to see an article consisting of statements, entirely of statements that are either obvious, wrong, or obviously wrong. Okay? Amazing. How did you manage to write an entire article and bat 1,000 on that category?
Okay. You have lost talent, though, right?
Is there a company that exists that has not lost talent on Earth anywhere? Well, of course not, right? Every company, there's attrition at every company. Mm-hmm. What matters is what's the longevity of key executives and personnel at the company. Do they stay there a long time, or is there a lot of turnover?
Do you feel your turnover rate's in the right place?
Our turnover is less than industry average, not higher. That's why the article is so ridiculous.
Okay. Your stock price, it peaked at $289 a share in September, and now it's at about $200, $202. Has that raised expectations for the company performance that may be difficult to meet? And what do you think of the wild fluctuation of your stock price? Do you sometimes wish that it wasn't, that it had not risen so high?
Yeah, I think this is one of the